In honor of our Friday tradition of Good Week, Bad Week, Kurt Bardella joins us with whether or not Mr. Biden has a good week or a bad week. You can make the case for both, right?
I mean, I think that ultimately, we always say, what's the most important thing to voters? The economy. What's been the number one narrative that we've heard from Republicans for months now? It's about inflation. The fact that the news on the economy and inflation was good tells me that Biden had a good week, because that's the thing that voters are going to care the most about in the long run.
Fair enough. His approval numbers on the economy are still terrible, and the one number, inflation, doesn't exactly indicate how most of America feels about inflation. For a second, if we step back and forget about the general election, are there a lot of Democrats, especially even in Washington, who are sitting around saying, oh boy, I can't wait for a second term of Joe Biden?
I think there are a lot of voters in general, Republicans and Democrats, who look at the options right now and think, is this as good as it's going to get?
Right, yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair, really, for all sides of this. I don't think that anybody looks right now at 2024 at the options and they're excited and they're motivated, like we've seen in past cycles, whether it was the tsunami of support we saw for Barack Obama when he first ran, that energy, whether it was the amount of media groundswell we saw for Donald Trump in 2016, and then it was the opposite of that, really, in 2020 in terms of how Biden won and beat Donald Trump. This seems different. The energy around this election coming up seems very different than what we've had in the last 2 or 3 elections.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Arabic saying, I have 2 choices, both of which are bitter, if this sort of comes to pass in the way we think it does. But I go back in. Are Democrats starting to watch these videos and the stumbles and go, gee, is there an option for a plan B? Has that been, we see the headlines are out there, but nobody will say it on the record.
And that's how you know there isn't an option for a plan B. As much as I think if you ask people in polls, do you wish...
But you look at this, like this is an attack ad ready for air. Is it?
Well, if Joe Biden was running against somebody who was under the age of 70, that might work. But let's be very clear. Donald Trump's not a young guy either. There are videos of him walking very slowly up a ramp, too.
I remember doing segments about whether the 25th Amendment should be invoked after this.
So it's like, again, if you're running against a younger candidate, which is
possible.
For Republicans running against Donald Trump, to me, the message I'm not hearing enough is the generational change argument. That would be a very powerful contrast against Joe Biden. But none of the candidates running against Trump are making that case. I don't understand why they're not doing that.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Good to see you.
You too, brother.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.